I've been a doctor for about 20 years. I worked in HIV medicine for half that time, and the second half, about 10 years, as a family doctor. I head a collaboration of general practitioners, about 260 doctors, and we're very passionate about teaching the public about COVID. And that's me. Well, I'm very excited about the COVID vaccine. It's the J&J vaccine and the Pfizer vaccine that's being rolled out in South Africa, and both of those are excellent vaccines. And what they do is they insert a tiny bit of dead COVID, but it's only a part, not the whole, into your body. And then your immune system sees this little dead bit, and it starts making an army of attackers to attack it. And at a later stage, if normal COVID comes along, your immune system is ready and primed to kill off the COVID. And so I think vaccines are incredible, and this could be a game changer in COVID. I think this is kind of a normal statistic. All over the world, there's been a lot of vaccine hesitancy for various reasons. It's a very new vaccine. It's all happened very quickly. There are a lot of conspiracy theories around the vaccine. But as people are realizing there aren't that many side effects, they're seeing that the countries that have had high vaccination rates have very low death rates according to COVID. And they're realizing the vaccine works. These hesitancy rates are going down. So that's reassuring. There's nothing hidden in the vaccine. There's COVID, a little bit of dead COVID hidden in the vaccine, but that's it. I've looked at the science and we've researched it very carefully, and these vaccines have been tested and tried, and they're very much like the other vaccines, the flu vaccine, the other vaccines that childhood immunizations. They have the exact same mechanism of action, and they work very well. So the way the vaccine works is that a tiny little bit of mRNA, which is a code, a bit like DNA, but slightly different, and it's just a tiny little section that gets injected into your body, and then that RNA causes your body's processes to make a little piece of protein that looks like the virus, which can later be recognized, if you do get COVID, by your immune system and annihilate the virus. But that little piece of mRNA, the code, gets degraded straight away, and it does not insert into your DNA in any way. So your DNA is not changed in any way. The mRNA just floats in the cell, makes a protein, and then gets degraded. So there's no ways they can insert something into your DNA. So no vaccine is 100% effective. So that means that when you've had the vaccine, there's still a small chance you could catch COVID. So the Pfizer vaccine is about 80% effective, which means you still have a 20% chance of catching COVID. But even if you catch COVID, it'll be much less severe COVID. And then the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is about a 70% effectiveness. So there's a slight better effectiveness in the Pfizer vaccine, but it's not really significant. And what's important is both vaccines have been 100% effective at stopping deaths and severe hospitalizations. They will prevent you to an extent from getting COVID, but definitely they will stop you from getting a severe COVID. Again, there's a little risk that you could still get a severe COVID. It's all a risk game. But your chances are much, much less of getting a severe COVID and of dying almost nothing. Well, the incredible part about this vaccine is it was a world monumental effort. Scientists all around the world got together, pooled their resources. The funding was incredible, much more so than any other vaccine ever in history. And if you look through the different steps that it takes, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, they didn't skip any steps. They actually went through those steps just at a much higher rate than usual. And I believe it was through cooperation and through increased resources. But the scientists that were involved were top-notch scientists. And if you look at the papers, the amount of people that they did the studies on was just as many as they would have done in any normal vaccine scenario. So I don't believe so. Well, I think the benefit of being in a collaboration of other doctors is that we all keep abreast of the research and keep each other informed. So every time there are new studies, people summarize them. We go to a lot of talks and webinars with the top scientists and specialists. And as a group, we can try and keep abreast as well as we can, which wouldn't be possible if it was just one doctor. So the best source of research that we find is the peer-reviewed journals. And those are the ones where not only have people published the results, but all the results get audited by other clinicians independently to verify those results. And those are results that you can trust. We have our own brilliant clinicians in South Africa. We have Glenda Gray, we have Shabir Mahdi, and these doctors are the top of their profession, and they've been integrally involved in the vaccine trials. And they've been informing government all along the way, writing the protocols. And these are the guys that taught us when we were at medical school and have been involved with other groundbreaking research in HIV, in pneumonia. And these are the guys we can trust. So fortunately, most vaccines, the problems are short-term side effects, not long-term side effects. And as I said, the same technology is being used in the COVID vaccine as most of the vaccines that we've already had. So the chances of long-term side effects, while not impossible, are extremely unlikely. So there is a new technique, it's called mRNA, and it means that they are using a small section of messenger RNA. This is the coding for certain proteins, and they'll put just a little code of the RNA into the vaccine, and that causes your body to make a little COVID-like protein, which your body can then recognize and kill at a later date. But that mRNA doesn't get incorporated into your DNA. In fact, it gets degraded very quickly after it's entered your body. Even though this is new technology, it has been under research for a very long time and has been used in other clinical settings. And we anticipate that it's not going to have long-term side effects. This technology, the reason they could also make the vaccine so quickly is that a lot of research had already gone into the SARS virus vaccine. So that would be your SARS-CoV-1, and now we're on SARS-CoV-2, and the two viruses are quite similar. So luckily, we'd already been researching making a vaccine for the SARS virus. There are always going to be conspiracy theories about people trying to slip things into us with various medications, various vaccines. This is no different to the other conspiracy theories. But according to the research, the science, there's nothing hidden in that vaccine that can track us or monitor us. In fact, we all carry a cell phone with us all the time, and it would be much easier to monitor us through our cell phones than through injecting us with something. Absolutely, I would give it to my family in a heartbeat if I could, especially elderly relatives, people with co-morbidities. I'd love them to have the vaccine. So when one gets the vaccine, you're mounting an immune response, and a lot of sicknesses, the reason you get ill is because of the immune response. So you get things like fevers, muscle aches, headaches, feel tired. And that's actually a good sign. It means your body is busy mounting an immune response to the vaccine. But with vaccines, they're very short-lived. They normally last about 24 hours and respond really well to things like Panado or ibuprofen. So it's better than having COVID itself at a later date. You just have to soldier through, mild flu-like symptoms. Well, it's going to decrease your chance of getting COVID by 70%. And it's going to stop you from getting severe COVID. And your chance of being hospitalized with COVID is much less. The chance of dying of COVID is almost nothing. And you're going to be less likely to give COVID to other people. And remember, you might be young and healthy, but you don't want to carry COVID and give it to elderly people, people with co-morbidities. So the spread of COVID also gets stopped. So having the COVID vaccine is actually a very loving thing to do. And we are called to love our neighbor as we love ourselves and to be selfless. And having the COVID vaccine is actually going to help the community and those who are more frail than us. So I believe it is an act of love. So interesting thing is that the vaccine causes an increased immunity versus getting COVID. You actually get a higher level of immunity from having the vaccine, and your immunity lasts longer. Plus, you don't have the chance of having a severe COVID. Even young people can get severe COVID. It's rare, but it happens. So it makes much more sense to have the vaccine, and we can get everybody vaccinated much quicker than we can wait for everyone to have caught COVID with much less suffering. That's exactly why I need to have the vaccine now, before too many variants emerge. So luckily the Pfizer vaccine and the J&J vaccine, which we're having in South Africa, are effective against the South African variant. And so the quicker we can get immunity going in South Africa before other variants emerge, the better. It is possible we're going to have to develop more vaccines or change the vaccines if more variants come along that the vaccines don't work against. I wouldn't say every few months, but much like the flu vaccine, we might be having to have a yearly COVID vaccine. Well, it's the loving thing to do. We're called to love our neighbors, we love ourselves. And you're not getting it for yourself, you're actually getting it for the community. For those that are more frail, old, have comorbidities, you're less likely to give them COVID if you've had the vaccine. So it's very normal to have doubts about the vaccine, and it's very normal to worry about it and to have a lot of questions, and that's okay. But take the time to go and talk to your family doctor or to a nurse or someone in the medical profession and wrestle with these things and find out the truth, rather than just saying you don't want to have the vaccine. Rather go and ask the questions and come to your own truth. I don't think so. From what the government's saying, they are going to allow people to make their own decisions. No one's going to be forced to have the vaccine. I don't think it's impossible, though, that there may be travel restrictions for people who haven't had the vaccine. That's yet to be seen. Yeah, but that's nothing new. There are other countries where you have to have certain vaccines to travel. Well, I believe that God has given us amazing minds and knowledge and wisdom and understanding and the ability to invent things like vaccines. In fact, we should be giving glory to God for the vaccine. Many medical things are available, and they wouldn't be available if it wasn't for God's provision to us in our talents. And so I would not say that you have no faith. If you have no faith for not having a vaccine, then you would have no faith for having any medical intervention. It is a medical intervention like anything else. So let's glorify God rather.